Now, for more on the U.S.-Nigeria relations over the years, we are joined by Sonny Rita. He's an investment banker and a financial and infrastructure consultant. Thank you so much for joining us on NC Continental Prime.
Thank you very much, Rita, for having me.
Wonderful. So generally, how would you describe the current relationship between the U.S. and Nigeria, particularly within the political and economic space? Would you say it has been beneficial for both sides, or would you say it has been quite parasitic?
Well, let me start by congratulating the government and good people of the United States on their 247th independence anniversary. And also on a personal note, my older sister, Dr. Iroche Okike, turns 70 today. So she shares the same birthday as the U.S. Now, on the political side, Nigeria maintains a very cordial diplomatic relations with the USA. They have an embassy in Abuja. We have an embassy in Washington. They have a consulate general in Lagos, while we have a consulate general in New York. They are now building the largest consulate in Nigeria, valued at over 500 million. So that's a worthy sign that the US means to take Nigeria very seriously. After China and India, the US is the greatest trading partner with Nigeria. We have so many things in common. The US opens up its market for us through things like the African Growth and Opportunity Act, the AGOA, that gives preferential import conditions for African countries. Nigeria has to utilize it. The USA is the largest and strongest democratic government, and we have now tailored our own democracy after their presidential system. So it is important for us not just to mimic America's system, but we have to mimic America's values. We have to mimic America's type of democracy. We must abide by rule of law. We must create a conducive environment for business to thrive. We have areas of infrastructure that we need to develop, and America also supports us in the power sector through the Obama Power Africa initiative, which cost millions of dollars. Also, we should remember that while former President Trump tries to stall the appointment of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, shortly after the inauguration of President Joe Biden, he immediately supported the candidacy of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as the Director General of the World Trade Organization, WTO, which is quite a great thing. And on the education side, the U.S. supports Nigerian education in a very huge manner through educational exchanges, such as the Fulbright scholarship that they extend to Nigerian students. On
now,
the economic side,
still looking at this relationship, Sonny, I mean, you mentioned so much about the democratic principles in the United States. You also mentioned the former President Donald Trump. We saw what had happened on the Capitol Hill. And for a lot of years, the United States of America has been seen as a pinnacle of democracy. And then comparing it to Nigeria, I mean, we're still struggling with our democratic values. What more do you think that Nigeria can learn from the United States, even still seeing that it's quite struggling with its democratic principles?
247 years of the U.S. independence as against 63 years of Nigerian independence. I can say so far are so good. We've done well. We've had a civil war. We have healed from the civil war, although not totally. We still want to have an integrated Nigeria. What happened on the 6th of January in the Capitol Hill was a very shameful act of vandalism, which goes to show that in every country on earth, you still have deviants. It's not only restricted to countries like the US or or Nigeria. If everyone was sane and rational, there would be no need for asylums, there would be no need for prisons, because you have a lot of people who are miscreants, who cover so many forms of misbehavior and antisocial behavior with political nuances. Our politics should never allow you to degenerate to such basic level of humanity. Because, I mean, if you are a stable character, you would abide by the rule of law. The rule of law is what governs humanity. If you're a Christian, the Bible is the principle. If you're a Muslim, the Quran is there. So we all must hold ourselves accountable for the way we behave. So that act is condemnable. Nigeria should not copy the bad side of the US. Nigeria should copy the good side in terms of medical facility, in terms of paying of taxes, because taxes are what they use to develop countries, and government must show the citizens what they do with the taxes that they collect.
Definitely a lot to learn from both sides. Even after 247 years of independence, there's still a whole lot of loopholes. Now, still looking at the relationship between Nigeria or Africa generally and the United States, we're seeing that Africa has become the beautiful bride. Many world powers over the time. In several months now, we've seen China, Russia, all trying to court Africa. What kind of impact do you think this will have on the existing relationship between the United States and Nigeria?
I see a promising future from the steps taken so far, the economic policies that the Tinubu administration have taken. They will have far-reaching positive effect if we follow up with consistency and if we create an enabling environment for business to thrive. What are the enabling environments? The Tinubu administration should handle corruption head-on and reduce it to the barest minimum. The Tinubu administration should also address security to insecurity in the country. People must feel safe to come to invest in their country. Good a thing, he has removed first subsidy. He has harmonized the multiple exchange rate. These are great initiatives that he has taken. Bank of America this week visited Nigeria, and they held what I call the Tinubunomics of economics. That is market-driven. There is no Nigerian way of flying a Boeing 747. Therefore, there is no Nigerian way of running an economy. It's just market-driven. Remember, the Soviet Union once had a government control of almost everything. But they've now embraced market-driven economy. So we must embrace market-driven economy in everything we do. It will be difficult initially, but on the long run, you look at supply and demand of foreign exchange, there'll be some form of equilibrium at some point in time, and Nigerians will be better for it. It is good and better and advisable to bite the bullet now. And we are really in Nigeria paying for the profligacy of the past administrations that have behaved as if they were Santa Claus and Father Christmas, looting of the treasury, converting public funds into private funds. Now, on diaspora, the Japa syndrome, it has its own good side because Nigeria benefits from remittances from the diaspora. At the end of 2022, the diaspora inflow superseded the revenue from oil and gas.
Yeah.
Nigeria attracted $22 billion from our brothers and sisters who have gone to work in the United States and other climes in the world.
Definitely a whole lot to learn, and we look forward to more fruitful relationship between the United States of America and Nigeria, while we also look for more developments in Nigeria. Thank you so much, Sonny, for joining us on NC Continental Prime. A happy independence anniversary to the United States, and of course, your beloved sister. I wish her all the best. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Rita. Thank you for having me.